Un segundo, gente, empieza.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games. Welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of Path of Exile Mirage, which is coming out 1 week from now on March 6th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's
Vale, el
live
otro ya
stream,
está nativo,
so you'll be able to
gente.
claim your Mirage
Aquí al
weapon
lado
effect by
veréis
following the
los
instructions
subtítulos,
below.
¿vale?
Now,
Funcionan
first things
automáticos,
first,
así
let's
que
roll
irán
the
más o
trailer
menos,
for Path of
pero
Exile
así no
Mirage.
perdéis tanto el hilo. Vale, trailer.
Jinn. They were bound to serve, but not to suffer. The Aphrodite assault our lands, trapping my Jinn in an astral plane. Break their chains, rescue them,
Rompe
and
las
you
cadenas y
will be
rescátalo.
granted a wish.
En un plano astral. Modificadores para el jugador, rareza. Voces del Atlas. Es otro plano astral. Rompe sus cadenas y
An
rescátalo.
ancient evil yearns for his freedom. We must keep him
Un
in
antiguo
the
mal.
dark.
Anhela su libertad, un antiguo mal. Debemos mantenerlos en la oscuridad. Gemas imbuidas. Gemas imbuidas. Tenemos nuevo tipo de gemas. Únicos. Habilidades. Excepcional support nuevos. Hiperacore, ¿ya lo sabíamos? ¡El Atlas fracturado! ¿Qué? Memory Bounce. Relicuaria Ascendencia. Atlas fracturado, gente. Un antiguo mal anhela su libertad. Debemos mantener la oscuridad. ¿Quién será? ¿Será Zarok o será otro? No lo sé. No parecía Zarok visualmente.
In today's stream, we'll take you on a deep dive into
Vale, la
Path of
liga,
Exile
recompensas
Mirage, where
potenciadas,
you'll
nuevas
unravel
habilidades y
ancient
gemas de
mysteries,
soporte, nuevos
unlock new
únicos.
powerful rewards, and become part of the
Wow,
eons-old
Atlas
story of the Winter
fracturado,
Settlement.
regiones
There are also
Sacred.
significant in-game changes coming
Wow,
alongside
Memory
Mirage,
Bounce.
including a progression of the
Con
in-game
Divines, había
storyline,
Divines
a
ahí.
new in-game Atlas system, and as
40
always,
nuevas
new
Support
rewards to
Gen
match.
Exceptional.
After
¿Qué?
that, we want to talk about
¿Cómo
the
que
slew of
40? Las
new Holy
Exceptional antes
Templar
solo eran
skills and
3.
supports,
¿Cómo que
as well as an
40?
additional Ascendancy class option added to the Scion, which some of you may find
Nuevas
familiar.
clases de ascendencia, Quality
Next, we'll cover our
Online.
new supporter packs.
Ay.
And then lastly, have a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile game director Mark, as well as game designer Octavian,
Oh my
your
God.
questions from Twitch chat. After
Quiero
the live
ver
stream,
ese
we'll drop the
Atlas.
full patch notes at 11 a.m. NZT or 2 p.m. PST. So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. In Path of Exile Mirage, you'll be taking on the Afarud, a sect of desert-dwelling necromancers who have lingered in the shadows for centuries. They are outcasts of outcasts, with no home or promised land. Instead,
Son
they seek
parias
their
de
sovereignty
parias,
through
sin
darker
hogar ni
means.
tierra prometida.
The Afarud have captured the souls of
Pero
Jinn
no son
throughout
ni Faridun,
Raycast.
¿no?
They are killing them, sapping their energies for purposes unknown.
Camino superior captura las
You
almas.
must fight your way past the Afarud's necromantic creations to find the captive Jinn. Here, Varashta, an ancient Marakith sorceress, has been doing what she
¡Ha
can
dicho
to protect the
Varashta!
Jinn, but she needs your help to free them. After successfully defeating them, you will then be asked by Varashta to enter the astral realm and break the tether trapping the Jinn
¡Ay,
there.
Barasta! ¡Ay, Barasta! ¡Lo he acertado!
This gate to the astral realm is a mirage, an imperfect copy of the area around the captured Jinn. Now,
Una
when
copia
we say an
imperfecta del
imperfect
área.
copy, we mean that quite literally. Hold tight, because this league mechanic has some serious implications for
Una
juicing
copia
areas.
imperfecta lo hacemos
We'll
literalmente.
get to that in a moment. Varashta can augment the magic of the Mirage further, as she allows you to enter, giving you the option to choose one of 3 wishes before you do so.
What is your desire?
These wishes are
100%
modifiers
más mapa.
that will apply to the Mirage
Algunos
area
packs
and
serán
have some
reemplazados
pretty
con
potent
monstruos que
outcomes.
convierten el equipo a oro.
There are wishes that grant extra rewards,
Portales y-
such as the wish for glyphs,
y
which causes all
scrolls.
portal
Todos
and
los
wisdom
scrolls se
scrolls in the
convierten en
Mirage
currency.
to instead drop as other currencies. Or wishes that will spawn rewarding enemies, such as the wish for avarice, which replaces a number of packs in the area with gilded enemies, that convert their equipment drops to gold. And wishes that can grant you extreme
Solite.
power while inside the Mirage,
Bronce
such as
llevo
the
el
wish
caché.
for souls or the wish for godhood,
Los jugadores en
which
el
allow you to
área
consume
del
the souls of
espejismo
your
no pueden
enemies
morir.
or make you completely
Somos
unkillable,
inmortales directamente.
while within the Mirage, of course. Each wish is also marked with the sigil of one of 3 powerful Jinn: the Sand Jinn, Fire Jinn,
Rusa,
or Water Jinn.
Navira, son
Depending on the
los
sigil
tres de
chosen,
PoE 2.
monsters within the affected
los tres
Mirage
DJs
will have a small
de la
chance to drop
discípula de
one of
Barasta,
3 new coin currencies: a coin of knowledge, coin of power,
Moneditas,
or coin of
corrompe una
skill.
gema de nivel 20
Each of
imbuyéndola
these coins can be
un
used on
efecto
a
de
max
soporte
level skill
aleatorio
gem,
de ese
corrupting
color
it
verde,
and
rojo o azul.
augmenting it with a random support that matches the color of the
Es
coin
una
used.
support gratis, o sea, corrompes tu gema para
Only one
conseguir
skill that
una,
is imbued this
una
way
support
can be
extra.
socketed into a given
Podemos tener un
equipment item at a
7L,
time,
gente.
meaning you cannot have 2 imbued skill gems in your
7
body armor,
Ls.
as an example.
Choose what you wish.
That's one of the
Más
rewards,
cartitas en
but
el
let's
área.
get back to the
Uy, no me da tiempo a
area-to-area
leer.
mechanic.
For you.
El
Once you've made your
Barasta,
choice of
el
wish,
Barasta.
enter the Mirage and fight your way through the monsters and astral hazards to find the tether holding the Jinn. Shatter this chain to free the Jinn, step by step weakening whatever dark plans the Ufarud may have for Rayclast. Wishes are not the only value a Mirage has to offer to an enterprising exile. As we mentioned earlier, Mirages are an imperfect copy of the area the Jinn occupies in Rayclast, and it will copy almost anything, as long as it's within the domain of
Copiará
the
casi
Jinn.
cualquier cosa. Siempre que
Mirages
esté
created
dentro
from an
del área,
in-game
¿no?
map, for instance, will have all Scarab, Atlas, and map modifiers the area had.
Tendrá todos los
Mirages
escarabajos del
created
Atlas, todo
next
lo
to
que
a
hayas
strongbox
aplicado.
will have
Es
a new
decir,
strongbox ready for
si
you
por
to
ejemplo,
open.
es una forma de sacar 2 encuentros de Blitz por mapa,
Blights can
por
be
ejemplo.
defended again.
Por pensar así, caso fácil que entendáis. Me gustó, caso de Blitz. Perdón, no quería hacer
Legions
spoiler.
fought once more, and so on. Effectively, you get a portion of your map to play a second time. And everything you
Wait,
did
o
to
sea, que
enhance
digamos
the
que la voy a
content of
necesitar
that
la instala,
map
pues conseguir
applies in
rompiéndola,
the
sí.
Mirage too. These
Eso
recreated
valdrá
copies
caro,
of
¿eh?
League mechanics, however,
La
have been
gema de
warped
nivel
into
20
reality by the power of the
Con la
Mirage.
support correcta.
And this has some side effects.
Ay, yo te GG,
For one,
confirme.
a recreation may not be perfect. The factions of a legion may differ from the one the Mirage copied. Or, the variety of strongboxes may change. More importantly, the mechanic
Las
may be
estrombos, todo lo
empowered,
copia.
with new threats and rewards that are customized to each mechanic and are only available when
Vamos a
doing
tener
that
mapas
mechanic in the
super
Mirage.
potentes, ¿eh?
For example, ultimatums recreated in Mirages will have new threatening modifiers added to the usual pool. Restless Ground can raise slain enemies
Vale,
to
las
fight again.
mecánicas que hacemos dentro del espejismo
quicksand will
pueden
grasp at your
tener
ankles.
modificadores o cosas
As
diferentes
a
a
reward
las
for these new
versiones normales de
threats,
los encuentros.
Mirage
Por
ultimatums
ejemplo, en
can provide the
Ultimatum,
new
modificadores que
sinistral
no
or
existen
dextral
normalmente en mapa.
catalysts. These catalyze jewelry with increased effect of
catalyst,
either
Dexter
prefix
catalyst.
or suffix modifiers.
Nuevos catalysts, gente.
As you can imagine, there's a lot of potential here. Another example is that Kalgurin ore recreated in the Mirage has a chance to be replaced by a thaumaturgic hourglass, a powerful magical device that your Kalgurin friends can mine in order to obtain vast
Un reloj de
quantities
arena.
of thaumaturgic dust.
Para tener grandes
Blight
cantidades
encounters
de polvo
recreated in Mirages
taumaturgico.
have one of their lanes replaced by Ufarud enemies, infested with blight.
Vale, reemplaza uno de los
This lane
carriles
can
de
reward a
Blitz,
new base type,
uno de los
the
pasillos de Blitz.
cord belt. The implicit of this belt
Nuevo
allows it
tipo
to
de
be
base.
anointed,
Siempre que hagas
causing
ese
it to
encuentro
grant a
dentro del
passatory notable
espejismo.
of your choosing. As a quick note, imprisoned Jinn will generally be near the content they can empower in the Mirages, so you don't need to worry too much about getting lucky with where your content generates in an area. As the campaign doesn't generally contain too much additional League content for the Mirages to empower, we've gone and added a whole bunch that will force spawn near the Jinn, so your campaign experience will double down on being more action-packed and rewarding.
Vale, que han metido más pack de bichos
Now,
y
of
poco
course,
más porque en
if you're
campaña no
traveling
tienen
through
mecánicas
mirages,
como tal.
encountering new enemies, and slaying them, you can expect to find some new uniques.
Bueno, nuevos únicos, nuevos
The
enemigos, nuevos
Upper are
únicos.
not only torturers, but thieves, and have over the centuries stolen away priceless Maraketh artifacts. Using their powers of rot and
Artifacts.
disease, they have twisted these items to
Durante
suit their
siglos los
own
maraquíes han
purposes.
robado artefactos, que es lo que os
Flesh
dije
Render
que la
is
Orden
one
de
such
Dijin
artifact,
protege en
an
una
ancient
bóveda
and
especial. Están
exquisite
todos esos
Maraketh blade
artefactos.
that has
Y ahí
been
donde están todos
tarnished and
estos
befouled.
únicos, ¿vale?
Its rusted and jagged edge is perfect for
Wither-
poisoning and withering your enemies.
Poisons.
However,
¿Vale? Para poison.
Varashta has in her command the power to restore these once lost Maraketh treasures to their former glory. Acquiring a coin of restoration by slaying monsters in mirages
Restaura
allows
Nafarud
any
única
unique
ítem.
obtained from the Alpha
Restaura.
Root
¿Cómo?
to be transformed into its Maraketh counterpart, its glorious original form. Flesh Render, for example, transforms into Sky Sunder, the
Esto lo he
original
recuperado
Maraketh blade that
de...
radiates with the glowing heat of the desert sun.
Como
When you
en
ignite
brechas, que antes
monsters,
también tenían
Sky
la
Sunder reflects that
currency de
ignite back
brechas
to
que
you,
modificaba un
which
único otro
proliferates
único.
to nearby
Así que
enemies
tenemos
in
una
a
currency
massive
para
area.
convertir únicos nuevos
If you
en
meddle with
otros
the
únicos.
affairs of the Upper Road for too long, though, you may draw the ire of the Mirage League's new in-game boss, Suresh of the Weeping Black. Suresh also has a set of
Vale.
powerful, exclusive items. Yours for the taking,
Nuevo bot en
if you're able
game.
to defeat him. So that's the Mirage League. Now, to face all the new evils, you might want some righteous skills, some holy skills. In 328, you'll have access to a slew of new options to bring divine devastation and return the faithless to their rightful graves. We're also introducing some supports to go with them, as well as some new transfigured gems. Let's go over a few examples. With holy
van a enseñar
hammers,
cositas
you
nuevas que han
slam the
entrado.
ground to call down a hammer of justice from the sky. If
La
this hits an
de-
enemy, an
el
additional
martillito que
holy
hemos visto
hammer will
antes, la de Holy
cascade
Hammer.
forwards, which itself can further
Si
cascade
golpea un
and
enemigo,
so
un martillo
forth.
sagrado adicional caerá en cascada hacia
Expending a
adelante.
power charge when using the skill will call down an additional
Se ve
2
muy bonita,
hammers, which can also cause cascading slams. The more numerous your foes, the
Lo que
more
pasa es que lo de
instruments of
siempre, se ve
holy
lento el
judgment.
personaje así.
Sweep is an old skill. In fact, it is so old that it's one of the very first skills ever implemented in Path of Exile, over 15 years ago. It's been long overdue for some
Sí.
attention.
¿Y qué le has hecho? A ver.
With 328, it has been reworked into Holy Sweep. This skill converts some of your
Holy
physical damage
Swing,
to
¿se ha
lightning
cambiado de
with
la
shiny new
habilidad
effects
básica
to
esa?
match. Some
Se ve más
enemies
bonita
struck by the
visualmente, a
initial
ver.
sweep will have hammers of light batter them from above. These hammers cause area damage where they
Icono de
land,
Trinity era
so
otro.
clustered enemies are
Porque han metido muchas
demolished by
cositas nuevas, ahora
repeated
veremos.
impacts. When successfully hitting an enemy with Holy Strike, you'll summon forth a floating holy armament, a glowing mace that follows you closely. These weapons are minions, and will attack with Holy Strike themselves whenever
Minion,
you
ganas
do.
Minion también.
These holy armaments will copy the stats of your main hand
Que
weapon
atacarán
to
cuando tú
deal
lo
their
hagas.
damage.
Y copian las estadísticas
Stand
de las
against your
armas.
foes with Shield of Light,
Bueno, de tu arma de mano
a
principal.
retaliation skill which will allow you to unleash a cone of holy light upon
Escudo
enemies
de luz.
after blocking a hit with your shield. Additional cones of light will also pour forth from your nearby allies when you hit with the skill, allowing you to recruit your holy army to create purging light.
Hola, Maru.
Divine
Tenemos
Blast
drops en
emits a
Twitch.
beam of holy light
45
from your shield,
minutitos para conseguir el drop.
coalescing into a hovering ball of energy.
Me
A few
extrañó.
moments later, this unstable orb bursts, exploding outward with divine power. Hallow supports melee attacks, causing them to inflict a new
attacks.
debuff, Hallowing Flame. Hallowing Flame builds up as charges on
Nueva
enemies,
debuff,
getting
hecho.
consumed when attacked. Consuming a stack of Hallowing Flame gives the attack that consumed it a significant amount of extra fire damage. But only those who did not inflict the Hallowing
ataque
Flame
que la
are able to
consumió.
consume it. Perfect for those of you who enjoy a more supportive playstyle with your army of holy
Vale.
sentinels.
Le metes la
Or
debuff
friends.
y atacas.
When
Y
they're
al
online.
atacar consume esa debuff,
We've
haciendo,
also added
añadiendo
sources of
daño
this
extra.
debuff to a number of other
De fuego,
places,
entendido.
such as unique items, cluster jewels, and the Guardian
¿Vale? Que le
Ascendancy
han metido
class.
esa debuff, esa desventaja en varios sitios, ¿vale?
We also
La
have another batch of new
Halloween
transfigured gems, with many
Gemas
of these being
transfiguradas.
variants for gems which previously had none. One example is the Shockwave Totem of Authority, which casts its higher damage dealing Nova at your location instead of its own.
Invoca un tótem que golpea el
You
suelo.
might also enjoy Orb of Storms of Squalls. These storms warp directly to targets when you use lightning skills, and arc lightning upon doing so. This gives you a mobile
Qué
storm of
bonito.
destruction that follows you as you dive into battle.
Está
We'll
gracioso
leave the
esto.
rest of the transfigured skills for you to comb through in the patch notes. Speaking of the patch notes, as always, we love to shake up the meta, so we've done a bunch of balance adjustments to a few other things as well, such
Ajustes
as
de
a pass on
balance.
bloodline classes, expanded the passives available to the Templar section of the passive tree, and
Cositas
various
para el
improvements to
Templar,
existing
pasivas de la
holy
zona de
themed
Templar.
skills such as Static Strike, Holy Flame Totem,
Han tocado Holy Flame
and
Totem.
Dominating Blow. We're also doing our usual improvement to some of the least played Ascendancy classes. This time with a focus on Guardian and Warden.
Vale, Guardian, han tocado un poquito las ascendencias.
Speaking of Ascendancies,
Hablando de
let's talk about the
ascendencias.
Scion and her new
Reacción.
Reliquarian
Scion.
Ascendancy class. For those that have played the Legacy of Freesia events, this class will seem
Su nueva
familiar.
clase ascendente
The
relicuaria.
Reliquarian is a learned Scion that has studied history at the Oriath Academy. She is a part of a secret society of Oriathans, dedicated to collecting and
Ella es
discerning
parte de
the
una sociedad
strange
secreta
properties of
de
unique
Oriasan
items.
dedicados a recolectar y
All
discernir
of her passive
propiedades de los
powers
seres
come from these
únicos,
unique
de artículos
items,
únicos.
found from throughout Rayclast. After ascending,
Vale, es una
first select the
ascendencia
power
que te
of
da
a unique
poderes
armor.
de únicos.
Victario's influence increases the level of all your auras
Es
and
que
gives
necesitaba
them a
algún
much
cambio,
larger
sí.
area of effect. Or instead, take Kilowava's Bluster,
Ahora
giving
bien,
you a chance to have
¿se podrá
extreme elemental
startear con
resistance against
Sion
incoming
con
hits.
esta nueva ascendencia?
Next,
Porque con la que tiene
pick from a unique
originalmente
weapon power.
sirve más para in-game que para
Widow Hail
startear.
greatly increases the
Veremos,
bonuses gained
veremos.
from your quiver. Or Marta's Teaching, which causes your minions' critical strike chance with attacks to be equal to your main hand weapons. Lastly, pick your crown jewel, a unique jewelry power. Astral Projector causes Nova spells to cast from enemies rather than from yourself. Or take Astramentus, simply giving you a huge boost to all your attributes. Due to all the
Más 60
ways you
todas
can
las
mix and
atributos,
match
qué
unique
burrada,
powers, the Reliquarian has more flexibility in how you build it compared to any other Ascendancy class
Habrá
in the
que verla
game.
con paciencia esa ascendencia, ¿eh?
Our plan going
No
forward is for the
caigáis en el
Reliquarian to not
vibe
be a
rápido de
static
alguien que te
Ascendancy
diga que ya
class,
tiene Will
and
conexión,
between
¿eh?
each expansion, the unique powers which are offered will change.
Deja que el
If you
Path of
don't
Exile
like
se
what she
actualice
offers
como
this
mínimo.
expansion,
Con tanto
hopefully she'll have
cambio,
the power of your favorite unique item in the next one.
yo tengo
Time to
Will.
move on to the end game. With this expansion, we
Hay
are
que ver.
aiming to liven up the end game, giving players new
Endgame.
experiences,
A ver, gente, endgame.
strategies to leverage, and streamlining or removing the more frustrating tasks. Extensive changes will be coming to the Atlas
Simplificar
and how
tareas
you engage with
constante.
maps, without
Simplificar o
interfering with the
eliminar.
beloved core experience that
Grandes
has made
cambios en el
mapping
Atlas.
so successful.
Y cómo interactuamos con
In the
los
last few
mapas.
endgame updates, you experienced Zana's story. How she helped defeat the Elder, tried to stop exiles from going mad in the Atlas,
Vale, está haciendo un
and
resumen de
faced
lo que
new
pasó con
threats
el Atlas
pouring
en su
forth from it.
momento, que ayudó a derrotar al
In the most recent
Elder,
expansion,
que
she
intentó evitar que
eventually
los
realized that
exiliados
there
se
was only
volvieran
one way
amenazas,
forward,
etcétera,
to
etcétera.
destroy the
Y lo más
Atlas.
reciente, destruyó el
Zana's
Atlas.
recent actions have now weakened the already strained and tattered edges of its realities, reshaping
Eso ha
how we
debilitado
interact
los
with the Atlas
bordes
entirely.
tensos y desgastados de sus realidades,
explain how this
cambiando por
changes your
completo la
interactions
forma
with
en que
the
interactuamos con el
We
Atlas. Ahora tenemos
first
un
want to
Atlas
establish
fracturado
some
por culpa de
context
Sana.
while having a bit of a trip down
Me
memory
digo
lane.
Sana muy alto que viene mi gata a la puerta.
27 expansions ago, back in Path of Exile 3.1.0,
¡Wow!
the War for the
27
Atlas,
expansiones.
we had a mechanic on the Atlas where the Shaper and Elder
¡Qué
were
vieja me
engaged in
siento!
war. This manifested as influenced regions
Está
on the
explicando un
atlas
poquito, ¿no?
that
Estaba el
affected
Shaper,
specific
luchábamos
maps.
en el Atlas,
The
había
ever-changing
las
influence regions
influencias,
made the atlas feel more like a physically connected space,
regiones de influencia.
rather than just a fancy way of visualizing a checklist of completed maps. However, one of the main frustrations with this mechanic was that you constantly
Pero una de las
needed
principales
many different
frustraciones
specific
era que
maps
necesitaba
in
muchos
order to manipulate the
recursos.
influenced regions.
Para manipular
We
influencia era
realized
muy
we'd love to
lioso
again have
hacerlo.
mechanics that manifest physically on your atlas,
Nos encantaría
but
volver
we'd
a tener
have to
mecánicas que
address
se
the issue
manifiesten
of always needing
físicamente,
those specific maps.
pero abordar esas
The
características.
first major change we're making to solve this
Vuelve una
is
mecánica
divorcing
similar a
map
eso.
items from specific areas.
Pero en cambio, es
As an example, instead of
separar
having a
los
mesa
elementos del
map,
mapa de
you will
áreas
now find,
específicas.
say, a tier 10 map. To open a
Vale,
mesa
ahora
map
tenemos
now,
mapa de
just
tier 10.
locate and select mesa on
Por
your
eso no
atlas,
necesitamos
put in
Harbinger
your
y
map item,
Horizon.
click activate,
Ah.
and you're good to go.
¡Oh! ¡Qué guapo! Eliges
That
tú el
mesa may
mapa.
drop a
¡Ah!
tier 11 map.
Me gusta cómo está. O sea,
You can
tienes
then
tu atlas
immediately
con
return to
mesa,
your map
con
device,
tal.
which will
Tú eliges
default to the
cuál
last
quieres
map
hacer
run,
y ahí
and
le
then
metes
run it
la
again.
Waystone. Pero lo eliges
Or
tú, no
choose
como
a
en
new
PoE
map
2,
to
que es
use it
el
on.
layout que
It's
te
your
toque.
choice.
¡Wow! ¡Me encanta! ¡Dentrísimo!
This is one of the many benefits to this change, which is that if you are the type of player who enjoys
los
chaining the
escarabajos
same
por
map
ahí.
over and over, or the type of player who prefers to jump around,
Por eso no
it is
necesitábamos la
equally easy
currency
to
de
do either
Harbinger.
strategy or even
¿Qué
switch
le habrán
between
hecho a
them at a
Harbinger
moment's
ahora?
notice. For example,
¿Qué currency
if
le
one
habrán
day you're
metido?
farming burial chambers, hoping to eventually get a headhunter from
Si un día
divination
estás
cards,
cultivando-
and you decide you need a change of rhythm, you can
estás
seamlessly
haciendo
swap
burial
to your boss
chamber.
farming atlas tree and spam mesa for peak boss killing efficiency. Up until now, this would have required having some mesa maps stashed, setting all your favored maps to mesa, or doing a whole bunch of trading. You'll also notice that the structure of the atlas has changed. If you haven't played in a while, here's a look at it before and after. You will now begin at the center of the atlas, with each
Ahora
corner
comienzas
housing
en el
one of
centro del
4
atlas otra
voidstone
vez.
slots. In addition, all content accessed from your map device now exists physically on the atlas, so you can see everything available in the endgame as
Existe
you reveal the fog of
físicamente.
war.
Ves todo disponible a medida que
This
revela la
also means
niebla.
that all unique maps are now
¡Wow!
present on the atlas, including some
¿De
old
Maven
favorites
qué?
that are
¿Maven está
appearing
ahí
for the
todavía?
first time. Don't worry though, you don't need to complete Hall of Grandmasters every league. You now gain 1 atlas skill point per unique map completed,
Vale, hay
up
mapas
to
que
a
no tienes que
maximum of 10.
completar.
Given there are around
Ahora
20
no son
unique maps,
132, son
you
100
only need
mapas
to
nada
complete
más
the half you
para el
want,
árbol del Atlas.
if you can get
Pone
your
ahí.
hands on them. Note,
O sea,
you
no son
aren't
115,
losing
son 100.
any atlas skill points. These have been moved to new
Han
places,
aumentado
and
los
actually,
puntitos.
you can get more than before.
Tenemos 138 en vez de
Due to
132.
Zana's actions,
Más puntitos.
Egan now
Más
has a
puntitos
new
y menos
goal
mapas que
and is
completar.
determined to stop Zana's destruction by
Añade una
making
región
use
de
of a
Saper.
mysterious new discovery.
Región de Saper
Arcane
Complete.
Astrolabes.
Región con Saper y Ritual.
Zana is
Oh.
currently traversing the threads that weave the atlas together, severing them. With these new astrolabes, Egan is able to trace
Zana
her
se encuentra
movement,
actualmente recorriendo
but
los hilos
using
que
them
tejen el
causes
Atlas,
dangerous side effects.
cortándolo.
When you use an
Con
astrolabe on a
esto,
map on the
Egon
atlas,
puede rastrear su
a shaped
movimiento,
region
pero
will
eso
manifest
provoca
itself in that quadrant,
efectos secundarios
affecting many of
peligrosos.
the maps within it. There are many different kinds of astrolabes, and they apply different types of shaped
¡Qué
regions.
guapo! Zona fracturada de
For
Zana,
example,
zona fracturada de
An abyssal region,
Saper.
which causes all the maps to have an additional abyss. Or
A tomar por
blighted
culo el
region,
rincón, todo
which adds
a
a
salida
blighting
de Atlas de cero otra vez. No.
completing the content added by the astrolabe will remove the shaped region's influence from that map. Upon doing so, every
Otra
other
vez
map remaining in the
colorines.
shaped region will
Recuerdos de
gain
Vietnam,
an
total.
additional modifier. This means as you
Vuela
progress
alto,
through the
Rincón.
shaped region, maps you run will become more and more intense, with the relevant mechanic getting more
Rincón
and more
revampe.
juiced.
F por mí. Ya os podéis
Finally, at
suscribir
the end of
para
the
el curro
region
que me voy a
maps,
pegar con la nueva
once you have
guía.
successfully rid the atlas of the shaped region,
Open Bowl.
Egan will take you to one of 4
Al final de
memory
la región de
vaults,
mapas, si lo has
where there are
logrado
powerful
completar,
rewards to be had.
te deja entrar a un baúl
He cares only for the knowledge hidden within that vault, so any items
donde hay
are yours for the
recompensas
taking.
aleatorias que elegir.
Each vault is associated with a specific quadrant on the atlas.
Gemita,
So you're able to target a certain
ítems,
vault if you're
currency.
wanting to try get a specific type of reward.
Vale.
One such vault is the
Puedes apuntar a
Archon's
una bóveda
Vault,
específica. Hay
where you'll be
4 tipos
rewarded
de
with
bóveda porque hay
powerful
4
unique
tipos
items.
de fracturados, digamos.
or
El
the
fracturado de
Zealot's Vault,
Saper, el
to
fracturado
acquire
de Zana,
valuable
etcétera,
currency
¿no?
items.
Un divaincito.
This new shaped region
Necesitaba
system
mapa,
is one
¿vale?
that promotes running many different maps.
Completar un
But for
objetivo
players
mapa
that
con una
want to
región de
engage with this new
Saper,
system
colapsa un
while
diferente
still
mapa
wanting
en
to
una
run the
región
same map
Saper.
over and over again, the synthesized stability keystone on the Atlas tree enables exactly that. With all the new endgame changes, we thought it would be also good to mention some handy tips and tricks for quickly navigating the new
Te obliga a hacer
Atlas.
mapas que puede que no quieras esos
When
colorines,
using
o
the
te
map
jodes y no los
device,
usas.
the Atlas defaults to your previously run map. So
No tienes
running
por
the
qué
same map
usarlo.
over and over is as few clicks as possible. You can right-click unique maps or map fragments in your inventory to automatically open your atlas to that location with the map already placed and ready to run. When you select a special area that requires multiple items, such as to fight at Zeri or open the domain of timeless conflict, if you have the fragments to access that in your
Sacrificio y todo está en el
inventory,
Atlas, ¿eh?
it will automatically
ves.
add them to the map device in the right spot. That's the core of the new endgame. But there's a lot more endgame changes coming in 3.28. Let's blast through them. Over the last few
Porque recién entran van a
expansions,
entender
we've
menos
been
el
working on
Atlas, sí.
streamlining the mapping experience. And we wanted
Un
to
Atlas
continue to
totalmente
minimize
nuevo,
busy
¿eh?
work, so you can
Tal cual, el
spend more
rincón a
time
todo por
doing what you
saco.
love, killing monsters,
Estoy
getting
pensando.
loot.
Ay,
To that
qué duro.
end, we've made a number of changes. We won't get into too much
Hola,
detail,
Lisa, te has
but
perdido
here's a
mucho.
quick summary of what you can expect to have received adjustment. We've removed cartographer's chisels and
Han quitado
map
los
device
chiseos.
crafts entirely. The loss of content and loot here has been compensated for in other places.
Vale, han puesto 25 de quantity bonus por
Void Stones
aquí.
now grant special global bonuses while socketed on your atlas, including
Vale, bono.
adding the new Originator Void Stone,
Bonus
which
globales.
enables specific atlas bosses to drop exceptional supports. We'll elaborate more on that in the next section.
Vale, que hace que unos bichos tienen
T17
cosas
maps, as you know it,
específicas.
have effectively been removed.
Como exceptional
The
support.
bosses have been kept around, and they better fulfill their original purpose of being a gateway to target farm uber pinnacle bosses. The
Vale,
most
Uber
annoying
Pinnacle.
modifiers on Originator maps have been removed or replaced. No more getting turned into a slug for simply using skills.
Vale.
And no more will you be incapable of dealing
Bien.
damage periodically.
Han quitado los modificadores más peligrosos.
Petal skills in Originator maps have been removed.
Espera, en este
However,
tier 17
some of their
accedes
effects
al
are
boss,
now available
entendido, pero
from the
no mapa
altars and
como
memory
tal.
threads.
Entendido. Pero sí
Memory
que está ahora como
tiers,
un tier
instead
16
of
con
adding
esos
a memory
mods.
thread to your atlas, will now drop an itemized version of that thread,
Entendido, ¿eh?
allowing you to
Luego
save
lo
it for
vemos en
later
detalle.
or trade it at your leisure.
Bien, añade una
We've
memoria.
added new
Currency para
scarabs,
añadir
such as
memorias.
this
Se acabó
Expedition
de
Scarab
depender
of
del RNG
Infusion,
para
which
encontrar
can
a
generate
Ivo.
some truly tempting logbooks. And for those of you looking to take on the ultimate one-on-one fight, the Anarchy
Escarabajitos
Scarab of the
nuevos.
Exceptional will place a true antagonist-level rogue
Hacer
exile
17 de
threat in your
gordito,
map.
¿no? Vas a poder
Empowered
hacer el
by
boss.
every type of wildwood wisp, possessed by a tormented spirit, augmented with rare monster modifiers,
Entendido, ¿eh?
and affected by a shrine, this exile is not to be trifled
El
with.
bot de tier 17 como si fuera un bot grande, pero ya está, creo.
Alongside that, we've also changed some, such as the Beyond Scarab of Resurgence, which now causes all 3 Beyond bosses to appear when a Beyond boss would spawn in your map. On top of that, we've made improvements to a number of weak Atlas Tree passives,
¿Qué vas a
such
hacer con
as
mi Jung? Que te
Pillage
veo ahí en la
and
zona
Plunder.
de Jung.
which now grants a chance for items dropped by Syndicate members to have a
Fractured
fractured veiled
Veilet.
mod.
Fractured Veilet.
Check out the near the Path's Not
Sindicato
Taken
arriba otra
keystone,
vez.
which means your maps on average will drop twice as many divination cards. But which ones can drop will be a mystery.
Cartas encontradas en tu mapa son dos
And
aleatorias.
last,
Uy, no me
but
acuerdo.
not least, we've also made some changes to King's March shipping.
Cambios a
such as
Kingsmar, a los
We've
barquitos.
swapped the rewards given by sending ore and crops. I wonder what this new port will send back. Ports will now give more
Intercambio.
rewards for favored resources.
Vale, reroll.
And you can even re-roll them for gold, if they're not
Reroll para
offering
los
what you're
bonus que te
after.
puedes llevar cuando mandas cosas que corresponden a
Specific
ese
ports will now
puerto.
reward specific tattoos and rune grafts, making it easier to target the ones you want. Not to mention, the Kalgurans have
Iniciamos
discovered
sindicato,
several
¿no?
new
Total.
powerful rune grafts for you to get your hands on, such as the rune graft
Vale,
of Fury,
runas nuevas.
which causes you to
3 de
gain
rage
rage
cuando
on
usas
using a
una
life
poti de
flask,
vida.
and the rune graft of Resurgence,
Arcane
which
Surge
causes
gana
Arcane Surge
15%
to also
incrementado
grant life
ratio de
regeneration.
regeneración de vida para ti.
We mentioned earlier about the
Y la gente que
Originator
no supo, a ver
Voidstone
qué es esto
enabling
nuevo.
access to exceptional supports. So let's get into that, as there's a decent amount to cover. After defeating the incarnations of Fear, Neglect, and Dread, you will obtain the Originator Voidstone.
Pendro Perostrolavo.
As mentioned
está-
earlier, this Voidstone allows new, exceptional support gems to drop from many bosses across the Atlas. These new supports are an improvement over the old Awakened support
Neighbor
system,
Map, creo
which
que
is
eso es
being
el modo de
phased
tier
out.
17. Que es directamente el boss.
Awakened supports have long been a capstone investment for a character,
Awakened,
but there's existed a gulf between the more interesting ones, such as Awakened Spell Cascade, which has some additional transformative effect,
Quieren
as
quitar
opposed to
poco a
some of
poco
the
el
simpler
sistema de
Awakened
Awakened
supports,
para hacerlo
which just
de
have slightly
Septional.
higher numerical
A ver,
values.
¿cómo va? Si le han metido lo de
Exceptional
Awakened en
supports
Exceptional
will
ahora,
all
¿no?
be transformative, serving as an additional late-game tool to customize your build around, and extending character customization and creation even later into a build's life. One of the goals here is to provide interesting build choices
buscar Awakened,
even at
ahora
later
buscas
levels
Exceptionals.
and deep into the endgame. However, we are certainly not
Entendido.
aiming to reduce top-end player power with these changes. Exceptional
Pero no
supports will
pretenden
still be
reducir el
super
poder de los
strong.
jugadores de alto nivel.
If used well, they will catapult your
siendo
character
superfuerte.
even further than before. So, how many are there, and what exactly do they do?
¿Cuántos hay? ¿Cuáles
There are over
exactamente?
40 new exceptional
Más de
supports to
40
discover,
nuevas
adding
super
additional
excepcionales.
enticing drops to bosses that may otherwise have felt
Esto habrá
not
que
as
verlo
worthwhile to
muy bien,
run,
antes de
giving
empezar
players
la liga.
extra reason to take on those challenges.
Espero que no den bien la
For
lista esta
instance,
vez.
from the King in the Mists, we have the Hex Toad support.
Gestat
This
Support.
support creates areas of swampy
Soporta
cursed ground,
curses
which
en
spawns
áreas que no
toads
sean
that bounce
auras.
towards enemies and then explode, dealing chaos damage.
Vale, creo un suelo.
From the Uber Elder, we have the Void
Voidstorm
Storm
support.
support, which
Un
causes your
Voidstorm.
raining attacks to create celestial storms of energy that grow
bonito.
over time,
Como
detonating
explota,
as you
todo eso
approach
bonito.
for massive damage.
Bonito, bonito.
Defeating the incarnation of Neglect may win you the Frost Mage support.
Saquen
Similar to the
bolígrafos. No,
existing
porque en las
Archmage
no
support,
ponen las
you are
gemas
rewarded
normalmente.
for stacking
Yo
mana
creo que va a
to
haber
enhance your
un
spells
parche
with
de notas
extraordinary
esta
cold
noche
damage.
y dentro de
We'll
2 o
tease some
3
more of
días
these before
saldrá la
launch,
lista de
but there will
gemas.
be
Si las muestran todas.
many more for you to
Como sea
discover.
sorpresa, no se puede sino
Keepers of
preparar
the
la
Flame
starter y
is
luego ya
coming
pues ver
back.
qué se pasa en game.
However, we do know that many players have issues with the
Vale,
walls and
Keepers
hive
Acorim.
encounters. In order to address these concerns, we'll be making a number of changes.
Vale, que tenemos problemas con,
One of
con
the
las
biggest
paredes que no
problems
les
is that
gustan.
walls would block your
Para abordar
projectiles,
estas preocupaciones
meaning that
haremos
when a
una serie de
hive randomly
cambios.
spawned in your map, it would make it harder to clear.
Que los muros
In order to
bloqueen tus
prevent that,
proyectiles, por
walls and hive
ejemplo.
encounters will now be destroyed by any damage.
Para
But we
prevenir
also wanted to
esto,
make sure we reduce the visual clutter they cause.
ahora serán
hives
destruidos por
and their
cualquier
walls are
daño.
now
Pero
smaller.
nosotros... reducir el cúmulo
To allow
visual.
players to engage with hive encounters quicker when they do want to help Aelith, we've added a new Atlas passive which
Las colmenas de
drastically
pared son más
increases the
pequeñas.
detonation area of unstable burrows, causing them to reliably
Radio
chain
de
react and destroy the
explosiones.
majority of remaining
Bueno,
walls.
afectar cómo rompemos las paredes,
For
básicamente.
those who don't want to deal with the walls at all, there's now a pair of keystones that allow you to block
Son
hive
siempre
encounters
brechas inestables.
or
Si no quieres
unstable
muros, siempre
breaches,
brechas
if you
inestables.
want.
O que siempre sean highs, que
Now
siempre
that
sean
this is a core
colonias.
league, we don't want you to
Ahora,
have to
el
grow your
árbol.
Genesis tree from scratch on every league start. So now, each womb gift
No
slot is
queremos que
already
hagas
usable
crecer tu
by
árbol de
default,
Génesis desde
and
cero en
access to
cada
the
inicio de
Monastery of the
liga.
Keepers will be gained by finding
Así
Aelith
que ahora-
starting in Act 6 Mudflats. Now with Atlas
Ahora
Tree
como
and
unas
Scarab
ranuras
support,
predeterminadas ya,
you
¿no?
can
Una
have
ranura
multiple
predeterminada.
unstable breach encounters active in a single area for maximum ruckus.
Que va a haber escarabajos, todo esto, árbol
Speaking
del
of Atlas Tree and
Atlas.
Scarab support, we've added plenty. Here are a few examples. The Massing Forces Atlas notable grants a chance to have additional unstable breaches in
10%
your
de probabilidad de
maps.
contener dos brechas adicionales inestables.
The
Vale.
Breach Scarab of the Marshal guarantees a breach boss or high
Un
fortress,
escarabajo para asegurarte el
while the Breach
boss.
Scarab of the Incensed Swarm replaces all of Aelith's skills with
Potencia
Enrage the Hive,
el encuentro.
increasing the difficulty and reward
Este
from Hive
potencia el
monsters
encuentro,
in
haciéndolo
all
más difícil
subsequent
pero más
raids.
recompensante.
Graft items will no
Eso tengo
longer
ganas de probarlo.
exist, but we've moved several of the
Los
graft
bracitos sí
skills
que
to new
desaparecen, ya lo habíamos
exceptional
hablado.
supports, such as the Hiveborn support, which summons an army of
Vale,
breach
algunas
minions to do your
cosas,
bidding
algunas
when you use a
habilidades
supported
que se
offering
conseguían en los
skill,
bracitos la han añadido como
and the
habilidades
Foul
al
Grasp
juego.
support, which calls forth a field of grasping breach hands when you recall brands, exploding for heavy lightning damage when enemies approach them. We're looking forward to seeing how these improvements and additions are received, alongside a lot of what Keepers also has to offer. From the new bosses and their bloodline, through to the Genesis tree and its many different crafting options, like Foulborn uniques. Also with its new narrative, we look forward to extrapolating on all of this and learning more about Aelith, the Hiveborn, and its Breach Lords in the future. That covers all the
Esperan
new
contarnos
content
más
we're
de los
adding,
Breach Lords
and that
en el
was a
futuro,
lot.
vaya.
From a new in-game system,
Wow, hay
several new
muchísimo
reward
contenido.
types,
Tengo que
new ways to
empaparme
juice
bien
maps,
de todo lo que han
all
contado
of
del
which you can
Atlas,
double up in the new
Se
Mirage
viene
League,
guía gorda.
and all
Qué
that
miedo
alongside
tengo.
a suite of new holy skills, a new ascendancy class, and an insane amount of new
Esa no va a
character
estar para el inicio
customization
de
in the
liga, ¿vale?
endgame.
Porque es un curro enorme.
However, an important part of Path of Exile expansions is making sure there is a continued effort to improve quality of life. So let's get into that now. You can now
Bueno, ahora está hablando
favorite
de Quality
trades
of
on the
Life, esto
currency
ya lo vimos, de
exchange.
poner en favorito.
This consists of selecting two currencies that you want to be able to trade between with a single click,
Ahora la
and setting
cuestión.
them as a favorite trade. Favorite
Si
trades
los
will appear
Harbingers
by
ya no
default on
tienen ni los
opening the
Oro
currency
Horizon ni los
exchange,
Harbinger
and will still
debería
auto-suggest a
caer mucha más
ratio
currency de
based on recent
Annulment,
trade
de
data.
Salted, de
A further improvement to the currency
Fracturing
exchange is the
Sal,
ability to open
o lo han
and interact with
compensado
your
metiendo en
stash
otra cosa más.
while you have the
No lo han
exchange
dicho.
window open.
Pero desaparecen los Oro
Now,
Horizon,
when
los
trading
Harbinger
in a
de los
full set of
Harbinger.
divination cards, it will automatically be handed in to become the resultant item. If you then turn in another set immediately, the reward from the previous set will be transferred to your inventory directly, assuming there's enough free space to do so. Labyrinth font crafts that previously gave a random transfigured gem now allow you to choose which transfigured gem of that type you'd like to receive. The asynchronous trade item sale history is now hoverable, with full item descriptions of the sold item.
Lo de
When
elegir las
using
gemas
divine
transfiguradas es
orbs,
una
you can
comodidad, la
now
verdad.
tell exactly which modifiers
Esto es
can
una
be
tontería, si en vez
randomized.
de te marca naranja, lo que va a cambiar cuando apliques el Divine.
The ritual icon will now glow if you've got significant unspent tribute
Un
in an
aviso de,
area
oye, tienes
and
los
all
rituales
rituals are
completos,
complete.
revísalo.
And a
Y aún
pop-up
así
will
nos
appear
olvidaremos
after
de
the
revisar
final
el
ritual
ritual.
completion.
Lo sé 100%.
Also on the topic of ritual, you can now quick use vessels on completed rituals. Have you ever tried to click a divine shrine surrounded by enemies and find it extremely difficult to click? Well, shrines now take priority over monsters when clicking in an area they overlap. Since 3.24, we've been looking to add new
Lo que
ways to
decíamos,
improve the
habían
campaign
añadido 20
experience, and
zonas a la
3.28 is
campaña.
no different.
20
This
zonas
patch, we've added
secretas.
over 20 landmark rooms
Ya
throughout the
teníamos alguna
campaign.
con únicos,
scattered
con
across all 10
potis, con
acts.
gemas.
Some of
Tendremos
these
20
rewards
más,
are
con
pretty
cosas
useful stuff.
útiles para la
So
campaña.
keep an eye out for the new
¿Qué
and
tendrán? Pues lo
unexpected
descubriremos.
rooms, side passages,
Esto es
chests,
acto 8.
and encounters as you
Aracali.
progress throughout Rayclast. We want most of these to be a surprise, but we'll show you just one. There is now a
El caso que nos han
small central
enseñado
island
antes,
in
en
the
Cambia
Cartery
Fortress,
Fortress,
que podemos
all
conseguir
inhabitants of
status en
which will drop a
campaña.
basic tattoo when slain. Next up, we're going to be talking about our
Soporte
new
pack. A
supporter
ver,
packs.
money,
Today,
estoy
we're
pobre.
launching two
Me he
new
comprado
series of supporter
Reanima,
packs.
me he comprado el Baldur
The
Gate,
Curator
me he
of Wisdom,
comprado el pase de Overwatch. Este mes ya no
Iron
puedo
Incarcerator
más.
packs.
No me pongas un pack bonito, por
Each tier
favor.
contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several
Que
exclusive
sea un pack feo.
microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your
Señora
character's
Gastona,
power
este mes
or
sí.
progression in any
La
way.
tarjeta está en rojo, ya ves.
The
Está
Curator of
gritando.
Wisdom series of supporter packs contains 7 exclusive microtransactions.
Que el reanimal no lo he jugado,
The
lo he
Traveling
guardado para el
Wisdom back
directo.
attachment has all the necessary tools
A
you
ver,
may require to
una
chronicle
mochilita
your
con un
journey,
ratón.
complete with a helpful rat
Un
friend.
ratoncito. Te le
These
gusta Lisa,
chronicles will
seguro.
activate their magic upon identifying items, and will
Son
track
los
the number
scroll
of
cuando
items identified
identificas.
of each rarity.
Y
Just
te
hover
dice
the
que has
item,
identificado.
or link it in chat
Pero
to
no
show it
usamos
off.
scroll, utilizamos al NPC
The
para
acquired
identificar
wisdom
ahora.
unique finisher
No
effect
tiene
summons
sentido.
an ancient scroll that consumes unique enemies and the knowledge they hold.
Finisher F.
Most exiles would struggle carrying piles of scrolls
Feo,
or
va de
traveling
pobre.
Rayclast, but the Grand Curator
Va de
of Wisdom
pobre,
armor
mira
set
esos
is
colores.
perfect
No,
for the
no, no.
adventurous scholar.
Menos mal, es
Any
feita.
expert curator knows that scrolls hold more than just knowledge. They also
Lo que no
hold
entiendo es eso, que
power.
hayan puesto un
As you
attachment
cast spells, the
para
scrolls
que
attached to
sepas
the
lo
armor
que
will
le has
burn away
identificado
before
cuando
rematerializing
los
shortly
scrolls ya no se
after.
usan, cuando tienes el NPC que te lo identifica
It
todo.
also
No
features
tiene
a
mucho
series of
sentido.
helmet variations, so you can get precisely the look you're after.
Gandalf, el pobre.
Summon your scroll shaper
Si tiene
familiar pet to
periódicos
follow
aquí
alongside
todo
you.
en la tira.
This creature is formed from folded magical texts and can shapeshift
Tu
between different
mascota es
forms. You
un
can think of
pájaro
this
de
as having
papel,
multiple
un
pets
animal
in
de
one.
papel.
It can fold into
Mira,
a
puede
fox
cambiar de forma al
and
menos.
then even burn away,
Un cambia formas de
reforming into
papel.
a flying bird.
Bastante pobre, ¿eh? Skin de pobre.
This series of packs also contains the Scroll Portals.
Oye, el portal sí que es bonito,
Jumbo-sized
¿eh?
versions of the Scroll of Wisdom and Portal Scroll that you can make a quick retreat through.
Portal se ve bonito.
A supreme
Y me da
catalogue
una
of
idea
knowledge
para
can't
imprimir
remain
en
in one
3D.
place for too long and risk being pillaged by thieves. The Titan
Hostia,
Apex
el
Hideout
Hideout.
features a colossal
Ay,
Titan
Hideout
who
sí
carries your base of
bonito.
operations atop their shoulders,
había un titán
constantly
escondido
moving
ahí.
through a boundless desert.
Es bonito, ¿por qué?
The Iron Incarcerator pack also contains
Encima la
6
versión
exclusive
más cara.
microtransactions.
A ver el otro pack.
The Incarcerator's Restraints back attachment features
Vale,
stockades that were
attachment con
used to
cadena,
immobilize
bueno, no me
prisoners
mata.
by binding them to the earth as they were tortured for their
Dios,
wrongdoings.
pero ese Hideout, tío, es precioso.
Shackles envelop your choice of torturing device when
Efecto
using
de
the
arma.
chains of the Incarcerator weapon effect.
Justo en la billetera, critical hit.
These chains shatter into
Si
links
alguien
as
me
you
quiere
batter
regalar,
enemies.
exclamación coffee,
Make your
me
way through
podéis
Rayclast as a
donar.
walking penitentiary, intimidating your enemies with the elite Iron Incarcerator armor set.
Hombre, la armadura más
After a
bonita.
long day of tracking
No
down
es mi tipo
criminals,
de armadura,
step into the
pero es
Iron
más bonita.
Maiden
Me gustan
portal
así más
to retreat to
oscuritas,
your
más
torture
tal.
chamber. It acts as a great deterrent for would-be intruders.
Este portal no me gusta, la armadura me ha
This
gustado, el
peculiar
portal
creature
no.
was a favorite amongst incarcerators.
¡Qué pez
They
más
would be sent into
fea!
the midst of prison riots to mesmerize and control the toughest of minds. Use their talents to charm other players' pets, causing
Pueden
them to
encantar
abandon
a
their
otros.
owners and follow in line behind you instead, at least until it wears off. What better way to execute prisoners when your torturing has depleted their value? Harvest their souls to fuel this map device, condemning them to
device?
eternal incarceration. Your kills within the map are also recorded based on the rarity of the monster.
También dice cuántos has matado.
You can choose to pin an execution
tipo de
session that
bicho?
you're satisfied with on this miniature leaderboard, which is displayed for all that
Puedes
dare enter your
fijártelo en plan,
hideout.
oh, mi mejor mapa, aquí maté
Additionally,
1000
all
bichos.
microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2.
Vale, por suerte este no
Thank
me ha
you so
gustado.
much for
Y
your
el otro
ongoing
solo por
support.
el Hideout no lo voy a comprar. Bien, bien. Mi
We're
cartera
just
sigue a
about to start
salvo.
the Q&A with Ziggy D.
Es
Afterwards,
bonito, ¿eh? El del
we'll
Hideout
post
del
the full
Titán
patch
es
notes
muy
for
bonito.
Path of Exile
Pero
Mirage
no es
at
un pack que yo
11 a.m.
compraría.
New Zealand time, 2 p.m. Pacific. With
Vale,
release at the
que
end of
luego
next week,
publicarán las
our
notas de
community
parche.
team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news.
Vale, que irán publicando información crucial, es decir, tema de gemas y todo esto, supongo que lo irán publicando durante la semana.